Should African American Muslims be connected back to Africa?
Um, yes. Again, a lot of these questions are yes and no. You know, it's not either or. In my view, in my opinion, um, we come from Africa. We're African American. We come from Africa, but it's important to understand the complete focus of that. You know, in Africa, we don't know who we were or what we were. You know, they have these tests now, these DNA tests, but it's understood that they take a little strand of your genetic line and just say, here, you're this. But we know that it's too much to quantify because, you know, I have a set of parents who have a set of parents who have a set of parents. So there's literally hundreds and thousands of different strands of DNA that go into me as one person. So we can't say I am from this place, a part of this group. And the Africans are not one homogeneous or monolithic whole, as they say. It's not a homogeneous group. Africans are different. So you have, you know, the Igbo, the Hausa, Fulani, and different. They look different when you go there. You can tell. You know what I mean? The Ethiopians are not the same as the Sudanese, so on and so forth. And then they have their respective histories too, that make them. They have their different looks as a genetic group. They have their different looks. They have their different cultures. They have their different histories. Now, obviously, they have more in common with an Irish person because of them being closer together in a similar set of environmental circumstances. But overall, they're different. What's unique about African Americans is that when we came here, these groups were intermixed. We were mixed with one another. And we endured a similar set of historical conditions that make us more of a homogeneous group than, for example, the people of Haiti or the people of the Dominican or people in Brazil, though they too are a part of the diaspora. So these are very new groups. These are new social groups. There was no such thing as a Dominican prior to the North Atlantic slave trade. There was no such thing as a Haitian or a Jamaican, or African American. We are new groups. We are new social groups based upon, number one, intermixture of genetic pools, and number two, history. And even though we are more alike one another in this hemisphere, these various groups are named. The African American, the Muslim, not the Muslims, the blacks on the mainland of the United States, we have more in common with each other than we do with Brazilians, though we're all a part of the diaspora and we have a general commonality. So all of this has to be appreciated. This is science, you know what I'm saying? This has to, and this is Quran too, actually. This has to be appreciated when we take these things up as points of discussion. So I hear a lot of, you know, there's this sort of thing where we were Muslims in West Africa, we were Maliki, we were Sufi, let's just go and be that. I don't think that that's it's not wrong. I mean, it's not morally wrong, and it's not wrong, but I don't think that it's not intellectually satisfactory for me, because it doesn't take into account these complexities that we're talking about right now. And it doesn't even really consider the history of blacks in Africa. And I've mentioned this before too. We don't have, I mean, I'm not sure, but we don't know if Africans looked at all of the schools of law and then said, we choose the Maliki. We looked at all the Riwaya and we choose Warsh. You see what I'm saying? We know that's what they have now. Was that all available to them? Did they look? You see what I'm saying? So I think that we are a new group of people in a very new world, and we need to take an approach to our Islamic life that respects that fact, okay? However, we are children of Africa in general. So we are members of the African family tree. And I think that Islam, as it has expressed itself in Africa, should be something that we preserve as a point of pride. We should show that history, Timbuktu, and the great names that we mentioned, the great scholars, the great saints, and the great achievements made by the African people who are Muslim, who are non-Muslim as well. To be honest, I would preserve all of the excellence of African civilization just because that's the way of people, and we are allowed to do that in Islam. Islam doesn't take us away from that human trait of knowing the greatness of your life as a people, particularly if it indicates how Allah has favored us in the world and how Allah has blessed everyone in the world. So we should definitely do that. But I think we should do it not losing the specific and unique nature of who we are here. We are a new group of people. And I think that as a new group of people, one of the things that's perhaps biggest in terms of the influence upon us, we are a group of people who have been affected in such a way by our history that we don't like to claim ourselves. Everybody it's sort of a natural thing to love themselves. With us, you have to teach us, hey man, love yourself. So, and I think other groups take advantage of that. But I feel blessed by Allah. I don't want to be any other thing. And I love other groups, but I see black women as most beautiful. I'm not saying that because you're here. I don't need to score no points. But I'm attracted to African-American women more. And I think that's natural. I think Palestinian men find their women more attractive. Not that others aren't, but it's just natural. I value the figures of our history, Frederick Douglass, Du Bois, etc., all the way down to Dr. King, Imam Muhammad. I take pride. If it's not my history, who else is it? Whose history is it? I claim what came from the African-American soul, blues and gospel, even rap, jazz, though I'm critical of these things from a moral standpoint, like the immorality of rap music. I see these forms of expression as coming from the dynamic African-American soul. We don't know another race that's produced a Michael Jackson, and you can't go anywhere on the earth and play Michael Jackson and somebody don't tap a toe. It's just that universal appeal. No other race produced a Malcolm. Not in mass. We produce, a Malcolm. We produce a Dr. King. We produce a lot. We've produced a lot. So the African-American soul is a very special soul. And I think that it would behoove us to be grounded in the fact that Allah has favored us here, despite all of what we've gone up against. And why should he stop now that we've come into Islam? No, I don't think he has stopped. I think he's still blessing us and favoring us. So we want to be connected with Africa. Like right now, politically, economically, we want to be connected with our history. Yet at the same, we want to do that at the table as an independent, yet equal contributor to whatever's going on at that table. And that's the best approach, in my opinion, specifically as an African-American Muslim. So I'll leave it there, unless you have another question to add on to it.